Hello, everybody. I am Alicia Olson-Keating. Thank you for having me here today. Before I start, just quickly, I just want to assure you that no koalas were hurt and/or scared during the filming of that video. I'm going to start the conversation today with a little story, so bear with me. I think we remember the really big moments in life. So in November 2015, after spending 28 wonderful years in the Canadian media landscape, I did take an employment role down under in Sydney. And when I landed, I was absolutely floored to realize that Netflix, which had already been in Canada for 5 years, hadn't launched in Australia. There was almost little to no awareness that the mobile phones were going to take over our lives. Mobile penetration was sitting at about 34% in 2015. This was awesome. I was a prophet, the fortune teller. That's why I did well. It was a great place to be. I could inform the Australian media industry of what was coming, and I could inform of how the audience behaviors were going to be greatly impacted, and I could predict the future. So here we are. It's nearly 10 years later, and I must tell you, when I first signed the contract to take on this position of president and CEO of Numeris, I just got louder. As soon as I signed the contract, a few things happened. Trudeau stepped down. There was an immediate election called. Trump waged a tariff war on Canada. There was record snowfall. I had to travel in the plane with my elbows up, which was very inconvenient. But I did return home to 3 Canadian teams, having made the NHL playoffs. Big moments. I will not forget this return home. So it's really good to be back here in the Canadian industry. I'm a wee bit older, hopefully wiser, and whilst no longer a fortune teller, the theme, of course, is that we're going to build a brighter future together, which I believe we can. All right, look, a reset on Numeris because some people aren't really aware. So we've been around a long time. Founded in 1944, we have been the radio and television currency, which means that buyers and sellers have been trading on our measurement for several years. We're also a not-for-profit, and we are an industry JIC. So we're an industry joint committee, and what this means is we're governed collectively by publishers, agencies, and advertisers. We have a board of directors, but we also have industry executive committees that help shape the measurement for Canada. Essentially, it's important for everyone to know we don't go it alone. We have industry input, and we have important standards that we have to meet. The model for governance for Numeris, it's quite high. It's privacy safe. We have trusted and transparent reporting. We have fair and standard metrics, which means everyone's actually measured the same way. And essentially, this is a collaborative model. So the industry jointly agrees on the metrics we're using. They're standardized. It's so we can make a fair comparison of performance in the ecosystem on a level playing field. Okay, some important details about the measurement. So we have seasoned and well-managed people panels. This is our foundation, but it is enhanced by census data. The measurement is passive. I'm going to get to why that's important later. It captures viewing and it captures behaviors. So time of day, device type, etc. We are a neutral third-party measurement company. Now, where things have become a little bit tricky for us, if we were to go back 40 years, this is what the TV landscape looked like. And now it looks something like this. And Numeris' role is to try and measure all of it, which, given the fragmentation, you can now see why our people data is actually enhanced by census data. So we've been hearing a lot about walled gardens. In this model, media companies are using their own first-party data in a closed system without competitive comparison or a lens against a standard metric. Fair enough, right? Companies need their own data to understand their customer. However, the data doesn't measure how they're stacking up against the competition. and nor is it broadly shared, including the methodology, which is why I believe that having a unified, transparent industry measurement is very important. So that felt a bit like speed dating, but that therefore concludes the Numeris section. Now, what have we been up to? Because that's really important. So I'm excited to announce we're actually just weeks away from launching National Video Audience Measurement, VAM, which brings together linear television, the streaming platforms, and online video in a single source of measurement for Canada. Yay! Yay! Woo! That is a yay. And what this means for you is that you'll have the ability to report on all linear and video across all devices and demographics. So VAM will provide you with the ability to do the audience segmentation. It provides behavioral insights, data to refine your qualitative strategies, and improve campaign performance. It provides duplicated and unduplicated reach across any comparison of channels and platforms. So let's have a look. Most of you will be quite familiar because, of course, we've been providing VAM data for Ontario and Quebec for quite some time. But now, we're going to bring in Western Canada and Atlantic Canada to get a full national picture. And you can see the differences by region. This is the national view. So now we have a complete picture. Every corner, all screens, all markets per individual, making it easy for you to slice and dice the data in a way that you want it and need it. So I'm going to dig in. You're going to see I'm going to take you through examples of the way we can use the data. I'm not really focused on what's in the graph, but it is used for comparison purposes. So VAM enables us to analyze the consumption patterns by platform. How does this translate for users? So with National VAM, you can now make smarter, more informed decisions about where you're putting your money. You can optimize your media mix model to target better because you can now actually see the full story of how Canadians are streaming and watching from one coast to the other. If you're a media company, you can start to drill down competitive analysis and understand where you share your audiences, for example. Some truths. So yes, there's been political tensions between the US and Canada in recent months. All that to say that Canadians said they were putting their elbows up and they're claiming to move away from the US goods and services. But what was really interesting is all that claimed perceptual research, we're tracking in real time the actual consumption. And what you can see is that it actually has stayed quite stable and high. So at the end of the day, the beauty of VAM really is that it captures the real-time behavior, it's trendable, and it's passive measurement. So this is actually giving you a picture of what's actually happening versus what is claimed to be happening. Both have their benefits, but it's really important to get the picture. Next. Okay, this is my favorite because I love a scatter plot. This one's comparing scale. So on the x-axis, you've got weekly reach, and then on the y-axis, you've got your hours, and that is your engagement. And so it's really just showing you in terms of where they sit against both criteria. Now let's pull in YouTube, for example. You can see that they've got pretty strong scale, pretty high engagement. What about Twitch? And we can see Twitch on the far left there. Less scale, but very high engagement. And again, now you can start to pick down against the demographics, and you can look, and get a deeper story around that. What happens when we bring in linear TV? And again, for the first time, you can actually look at the whole holistic picture on the Canadian landscape, which we think is a huge opportunity for this market. This is the prize slide. So you could win one of 5 prizes here. So once I go through it, basically what we're doing here is we've taken Twitch. That's not the answer. But the mystery platform X, we've taken the two and we're comparing them to see what percentage of the audience, so in this case, 12.9% is duplicated, and then we're looking at exclusive reach. But you can drill down on that 12.9%. You can start digging into what those demographics and what have you are. So who is our mystery platform? So when we're on break, please go to the NLogic booth, and the first 5 to guess the correct platform will receive an awesome prize. Now, what's next? So with National VAM, we've talked about it. We've built the foundation for complete video solution for Canada. And with tools like NLogic's Video Planner, you'll uncover your deduplicated audiences across linear, streaming, and social content. This is the first piece of the puzzle. We're also evolving our linear data set. Enhanced TAM, it gives greater depth and scale to address the fragmentation. So this is your set-top box. You know that set-top box, the RPD is coming in, and it's basically your first part, it's basically the linear TV data, but now, with phase 2, we could actually bring in the digital data as well. Imagine this, potential modern currency replacement, for TAM, and that is really the reason behind this. And I want to say, I believe with everything in me we can get there, because we did it in Australia, and we did it not with a JIC. We had a MOC, which is a media-owned council, very, very different. But we saw great success with this, so I'm very confident that this is the way forward. So understanding content, though, is not enough. We need to compare platform efficiency and evaluate campaign performance. So, of course, we're very excited that we have partnered with Audience Project, and Audience Project has been working with countries across the globe. So we now are, and it's in market now, and it's a start, because this is the digital deduplicated reach and frequency across your campaigns. We are actually going to be working as well on, again, bringing in the linear TV component. And it will take some time for the development. But as you can see, these puzzle pieces are not complete, and I also want to make sure everyone's aware, we did not get here alone. As I said, we get a lot of support and input from the industry executive committees and from the board in different conversations. But there's a lot more collaboration that needs to happen to advance. I was asked during this session to perhaps put what my vision is, and I can honestly tell you when I go to this next slide, this is the reason I'm here. This is the way forward. It all leads us to a passionate vision, and I think we all want this, a complete cross-media solution, unifying content and ads across video, audio, out-of-home, and print. Full funnel. And it's going to take a heck of a lot of work to get there, but I believe we will. All right, what we're hearing from you. I've actually had quite a few conversations. It was really important for me to reach out to hear from advertisers, agencies, and media bodies as well. I've actually had 86 unduplicated, I'm just saying that's the unduplicated number, meetings, which is quite a lot, and they've been so rich, and I really appreciated it a lot. What is important for me is we're listening to you, but we are not alone. I wanted you to be aware that we've actually embarked on some POC, the proof of concept sessions with Numeris and NLogic, which I think is very exciting. We're also doing some whiteboard sessions with Vividata. So again, the collaboration is really starting to come in. We're presenting at the CMDC board, I think on September 27th. ACA, CMA, Think TV, where would we be? I mean, you're constantly using the data, but also collaborating and leaning in. So you've been great partners as well. I'm going to end with a summary of some key takeaways that I want to leave you with. And look, I mean, they're all really, really important. I think, though, to me, the two standouts are the two blue ones, and that is that the collaboration and partnerships are really on the way forward. They're the way forward. No one can go this alone. We need to leverage all the best in class and the assets that we have. And if that's sharing a panel or sharing establishments, like whatever that looks like, or tech, I think we need to explore that. And secondly, I think execution is critical. So we had a panel discussion this morning and got into some of it, but it is time to execute. So we've talked a lot, we've had a lot of meetings, it's spanned quite a few years, and I really think that it's time really to put everything into action so that we can build the future we want in Canada. So thank you for listening and viewing.